getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Hey, what's good? Happy Monday. Good afternoon and welcome. This is The Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score, 100.7 The Score mobile app, and yours on television, Fox 34 News Now. Hey, Mom. YouTube, Fire Stick, Roku, Apple TV. A whole lot of ways to take us in, however you're doing so. We are glad that you've decided to make us part of your Monday afternoon. Alongside Trent Hilliard, I'm Chois Woodman. We got Ben Poorman, sans glasses, across the way taking care of us. What's going on there?
I went back to contacts.
Okay.
By the way.
I haven't seen you without glasses in a while.
Since I got here.
Yeah.
3 years in the making.
There you go. Y'all bring your thoughts in, your comments, your questions, hopes, dreams, whatever you may have. All of it welcome on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Through that 100.7 The Score mobile app. Take the app anywhere with you. Even listen in if you're out in Toyota, Japan. Wonder if that's where it's from. What's up, Trent? How are you?
I'm doing all right. Pretty good weekend.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
pretty good.
I'm trying to think. Like, my sports teams didn't do that great in general. Softball was good, so that's good.
Real good.
They won a Big 12 championship. NFL draft went really well if you're a Red Raider, because
outstanding,
setting new records there. Baseball, not so much, but I mean, if you're looking for a final nail in the coffin,
for everybody else, that final nail happened a long time ago. You kept hanging on.
I'm an eternal optimist, so I was really
you were the only one, I think, hanging on still.
I was checking, just kept knocking on the coffin. Hey, there we go. Anybody in there? Sure. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Works at a wedding or a funeral.
There you go.
So that was Yeah. Well, now you're getting dangerously close to the nail in the coffin of not making a Big 12 tournament.
Yeah.
You got some doing to do there if you're going to make a Big 12 tournament. So we probably won't talk a ton of Tech baseball today unless you guys want to. Y'all can tell us on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We will talk NFL draft, the future of the Red Raiders this coming season, because everybody's got to get out there and get in front. There's the way too early 2027 mock drafts, which have decent amount of Texas Tech flavor to them. So it'll be pretty interesting to take a look at some of that stuff. We'll get into you can talk about George Strait or your experience there. If you went to the concert or one of the two concerts, 133,000 people. Holy moly. Felt like they all came in from outside of town, too.
There
was so many people in Lubbock this weekend.
The DPS and City of Lubbock cashed in some as well on that.
They were active.
Going on. Man, they were.
I was so confused. So on Friday night, I was in San Angelo calling a game for Friendship Baseball. And then I'm coming back, and it is 11:30. And I see just gobs of traffic between Lamesa and Lubbock, and I'm like, what's going on? And it took me about 10 minutes to realize, the concert just got out, and it looked like the whole city of, Midland went to the concert. So pretty wild stuff, but overwhelmingly successful if you're looking to try to do something like this again. Definitely interesting on that front, but plenty to get into. And we have breaking news. Not great breaking news, it doesn't seem. I'm trying to read this on the fly. Brendan Sorsby and Texas Tech have announced Sorsby will take an immediate, indefinite leave of absence from the football program to enter a residential treatment program for a gambling addiction. Uh-oh. Tech is committed to supporting Brendan through his recovery process to ensure his long-term health and well-being. Joey McGuire says, we love Brendan and support his decision to seek professional help. Taking a step requires courage, and our primary focus is on him as a person. Our program is behind Brendan as he prioritizes his health. Well, that's something I didn't expect to talk about on a Monday.
Wow.
That changes a lot of things. The first initial thing is what's going on. You're like, okay, what causes this? The next thing you start to wonder when you hear the word gamble and college athlete together, it's oh no, what's going on here? We've seen players dismissed. I'm not saying this is what's happening. I'm not saying this will happen, but we've seen stuff for gambling and sports where guys are getting kicked out of programs or whatever by the NCAA. So hopefully none of that is involved. Hopefully none of that's going on. But this is process on the fly.
Wow.
If you don't have Brendan Sorsby as your quarterback, this 12-0 stuff, this college football playoff stuff sure gets pretty dicey because you got a loaded roster for next year. But football, so much of it revolves around who's behind center.
Well, we saw that in our playoff game.
Yeah.
If your quarterback's struggling, then
right.
Doesn't matter how good defense you have or whatever, you're gonna struggle. And that's a big one.
That is quite the shock to the system. So you can get your reaction in, your thoughts, your comments, your questions, whatever you may have. It's welcome on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. So, again, very vague. Don't know anything up to this point, but this is it's massive news that it is an immediate, indefinite leave of absence for Brendan Sorsby to enter a residential treatment program for a gambling addiction. We'll sift through that, whatever it means for Brendan Sorsby and for the Red Raiders in 2026.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Thanks for making us part of your Monday afternoon. It's turned into a busy one on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score app. Chois Woodman, Trent, Hilliard with you from the First United Bank studio. Big news of the day. If you're just getting in your car, hitting the lunch, haven't seen anything, if you're like Jamie and you have all your notifications turned off, Brendan Sorsby is for the time being out on an immediate and indefinite leave of absence with Texas Tech football due to gambling discovered in his past. Now he's checked into a gambling rehab, basically. Trent, you asked why would you do it if it's been 4 years? I mean, I think there's moves that are made for PR too, and that may be what that is. Maybe he hasn't placed a sports bet in four years. Maybe he does have, blackjack addiction too, like me, or whatever it is. So maybe nothing's happened in the last 4 years, and it really is that long ago, and you're just, again, doing something to somewhat save face or try to put whatever the best foot forward is. But either way, this is not a good situation that Texas Tech finds itself in right now. All right, we're going to read a lot of thoughts from the Yates Flooring Center chat line as we roll along. Better go find a quarterback just in case. That's the hard thing. There's not really a find a quarterback situation right now. Do you think Sorsby might be caught up in gambling probe and is trying to nip it in the bud real quick? I don't know if it's active or not. I would be surprised if you've got anything active right now. My guess, Trent, and this is, again, we're here to speculate at this point. My guess is he did this. NCAA started cracking down about that time 3 years ago on student athletes that gambled.
Right.
And he's like, oh, I better get out of this and hide this. I better deep six this, bury this thing as much as possible. And he was able to up to this point. But something triggered it and came out somehow. That's my guess. That this did happen 4 years ago. They really started cracking down. He saw, holy cow, there's guys getting kicked out of college football for this, so I'm going to stop it. But who knows? We can only speculate at this point.
The divorce from Cincinnati wasn't a
amicable one.
No, it was not.
Right,
as they filed a lawsuit and did all that. So
you start to wonder.
This stuff starts coming out. You go, okay.
Did someone at Cincinnati know about it?
Right,
happening at Indiana because he tells them, and they're like, well, why would we hold on to this anymore?
Right. Now it's time.
Can Tech retract the NIL from him if he doesn't play the season? Well, NIL's technically separate from Tech, but yes, there are certain things in contracts that if you don't fulfill that contract, whether it be for many reasons, yes, it can be. Oh my goodness, how can you be a winner and a gambler at the same time? It's very rare. Is this April Fool's Day again? Feels like that kind of story. It does. It feels almost not real, but unfortunately it is. Wonder why it is Thamel rather than local media. Because this is going well beyond Texas Tech. Didn't happen here. That's why it's Thamel rather than local media. But you could speculate your own route if you would like. Sounds like a situation where Sorsby and Tech are trying to get out ahead of something, maybe coming out, maybe trying to stave off or minimize some possible repercussions coming his way. The timing after spring ball and ahead of summer-fall camp leads me to believe he'll be Tech's quarterback next season. I don't know if I share your optimism, but I hope you're right. Texter says, but Sorsby did have inside information on the team when he was at Indiana. I bet he won't be with Texas Tech next season. I see what you did there with your wording. Inside information, I don't think inside information is really a thing if you're betting on your own team. I don't know. I'm not condoning. It looks a lot more worse and more damning, Trent, if you ever bet against your own team. That's the inside information thing. It's like, oh, I know this guy's injured, so I don't. When you bet on your own team, to me, that's just betting on your own team.
Yeah, that's some choice confidence right there.
How are you spelling choice in that situation? It does matter. Art Schlichter again. Who's Art Schlichter? Should I know that name?
Ohio State quarterback back in the 1970s.
Okay. Did he do that?
Yes, he gambled on his team. Long time ago.
Wow. I wonder how much Texas Tech knew of this when they signed him. Unknown. I would guess none. That's a guess. I would guess, again, Brendan Sorsby has buried this for a while and probably thought it was past. Again, pure guesses.
Right.
But he's probably sitting there thinking, hey, I did this back then. Whew, got away with it because I just played 2 years at Cincinnati and nothing happened there.
Right.
And you'd have thought that it would come out by now. But if you make the wrong people mad, that your secrets may come out.
Yep, somebody somewhere always has an axe to grind, and whether it's taking him down or trying to take down the new kid on the block, that's Texas Tech football.
If Sorsby sits this out for a season, do you think this is bigger than we know? How many people do you know that gambled like this and went cold turkey now? I don't know. Same texter's asking how Pete Thamel beat the local media to this. Because it happened at Indiana, dude.
And I'm sure it was sent to him.
Pete Thamel. It was given to him.
Yeah.
This has obviously been buried.
Yeah, they're not going to Don Williams with this information.
Yeah, how about you tell us, why did Pete Thamel take 3 or 4 years to get this if you're going to go after journalists? John Mateer last year had this happen. Maybe some hope. That's from South Texas Ambassador Preston. I mean,
I think Mateer denied.
Mateer denied it, and Mateer, his was Venmo related. So
Right.
his was sports gambling or sports bets that it said in Venmo. That doesn't prove anything.
Yeah.
He claimed that it was a joke.
Right.
Terrible joke.
Stupid joke.
If it was, I don't believe it. I think he actually did it.
Right.
But this is something directly linked to Brendan Sorsby, either on a email address or a name or phone number, whatever that is, on a gambling app, online gambling. And there's there's proof in this situation, according to Pete Thamel. So Mateer is able to get away with it because there's not necessarily a paper trail outside of him saying on Venmo. But Preston, maybe you're right. Maybe there is some leeway there. Hope so. Texter says he took a picture with Ludwig on Friday night. I did see that picture floating around. Oberg and Sorsby at the George Strait concert. Holy moly. We're not going to keep up with all these texts.
I'm telling you. Yeah, that's the thing, Sorsby, he's been all in. He's done everything, since he's been here that I'm sure, the football office and those folks have wanted him to do. He's competed hard. He's been present. He's supported other things. He's been part of the community. He's doing all that type of stuff. So all that's been all good.
Yeah. My guess is that the story was coming out and he and Texas Tech did this report or rehab to get in front of it, but see little to no path for him playing in college again. Time to hit the under 11.5 wins. Okay. All right, a whole lot more from you. We'll spend a lot of time reading, reacting, and guessing at the future.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
This is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. On TV, Fox 34 News now. YouTube, Fire Stick, Roku. A whole lot of ways to take us in, however you're doing so. Thank you for making us part of your Monday afternoon. Alongside Trent Hilliard, I'm Chois Woodman. Got Ben Portman across the way taking care of us. Y'all keep your thoughts and comments coming in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line through that 100.7 The Score mobile app. We are talking a lot about Brendan Sorsby. I mean, I did have plans to talk a little bit about Brendan Sorsby today. Was not in this this vein, though. I think, oh, man. This was I'm not ready to mourn the 2026 football season yet because we obviously don't know what's going to happen with Sorsby. And we don't know what happens if you don't have Sorsby. But it sure changes things a lot. We'll continue to read your thoughts and comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. This one from the chat line says, if Sorsby doesn't play and comes back next year, that's from Thomas, this might affect Will Hammond and might transfer. I hope not, but he has been here for a while without being the guy. I don't think Sorsby could play and come back next year. I don't know if there may be a thing. I don't know how everything works where you can count mental health as a medical redshirt year. Honestly, don't know, and they're calling this a mental health thing. So it's possible, but if you're going by the 5-for-5 rule, if that goes into play, then he would not be eligible.
Yeah, and I think that's what NCAA is trying to get away from.
Yeah.
A medical red shirt, a regular red shirt, all the different things. So
yeah, this is Sorsby's 5th year, which again, Brendan Sorsby in the latest CBS Sports Way Too Early 2027 mock draft. Trent, have you seen this thing?
I have not.
He's in the first round. Where would you venture to guess that he is projected?
I would say somewhere mid rounds, 15, 16.
Okay. A little bit higher than that. CBS Sports has Brendan Sorsby going 8th overall.
Wow.
To what they project as the Steelers. So there's that.
Wow.
That was before, obviously, any of this news. We'll see. The 3rd quarterback taken. 1 and 2 were Arch Manning and Dante Moore.
Okay.
Which would have been really high on the list if they went this year. But both of those guys elected to come back. Brendan Sorsby was projected as a 2nd or 3rd round pick if he would have entered this year's draft. Now, very much unknown for everything. This texter says, "Oh well, back to 6-6 football." I get the overreaction, but I mean, as it sits right now, I think you should still, even if you don't have Brendan Sorsby, you should still be competing for a Big 12 championship with the rest of your roster.
I totally agree.
I mean, it's not a runaway thing like it would be with Brendan Sorsby, but
and maybe your national championship hopes and things take a little bit,
sure.
But you have got a stable of running backs that you can throw at people. You've got a great defense again. Mm-hmm. Some saying maybe even better than what you had last year. So you've got guys up there. You've got experienced linemen. So you've got everything. If you're looking at the NFL model, you've got to have someone who manages the game and does things, and don't have to have necessarily someone who's out there making all the plays and doing the thing. So it's certainly because we look at last year and go, man, we were really quarterback away from maybe doing this or that, and felt like we addressed that and got that. We still have some good quarterbacks there that we've recruited, and who's to say again, Hammond's not ready to go the second half of the season, and this may be where it plays in that you don't have a great non-conference schedule, and you get some guys in there, get experience, and do things with these younger guys, and they're ready to go. I'm old enough to remember back in 1976 when Tommy Donovan was your starting quarterback, returning, breaks a leg against the Aggies, and you bring in a guy that they were planning on redshirting that year by the name of Rodney Allison, and Rodney Allison become a Heisman candidate that year, leads us to Southwest Conference co-championship with Houston, and we have a spectacular year, and then he's lined up the next year ready to go, and he breaks his leg versus the Aggies again. So
sorry, Rodney, if you're listening.
Yeah. All the way in Hawaii.
Yeah, he tunes in occasionally.
There we go.
He says he'll
a little morning breakfast there.
Like when we start the show at 7 a.m. there, and he'll drink his coffee and listen in occasionally. So
Rodney came and spoke at our little Lubbock YFL banquet
Okay.
Back when I was a 10-year-old, and he was
that's crazy.
He was there, and
that's awesome.
He came and spoke at our banquet. So
I love Rodney.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is still a lot to unpack. What we don't know is players are allowed to step up. Like you talked about, you've recruited at the highest level you've ever recruited as a program. It includes one of your quarterbacks that's coming in now. We saw a glimmer of Chubb Jones last year. He looked pretty good against West Virginia. I mean, he basically could have helped beat that West Virginia team really good, and he'll still have a really good defense on the other side. And then you got the kid from Tulsa that's Francis that I think has surprised a lot of people up to this point. But we got a lot of time to unpack who it could be. This texter says, do you think the FBI will get involved with this, like what happened for some former NBA players and a coach? I think if there was illegal activity to it, meaning he bet against his own team or, mafia type stuff is involved, I think the FBI would have already been involved. I think. I don't know. They may probe at this point and just poke around and say, we're going to make sure we're not needed here. But there may have already been knowledge up to this point. Who knows?
Yeah, I can see them wanting to follow up and let's look and see what the bets were. Sure. Let's see what it was.
And
how
maybe
recent,
they find more.
Yeah, how recent? What was it with your own team? You were betting off sports. What was your knowledge of things? It's certainly high profile enough to warrant them getting involved.
Bobby Hot Dog says, since he probably snitched, still salty because we took their guy.
I agree.
I mean, that's probably the truth.
Yeah,
probably is. There's probably someone with knowledge there that did know about it and said, okay. Or maybe he took another guy's girlfriend and they got mad over it. Who knows? Back at Indiana.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Thanks for hanging out with us on a Monday. This is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. He's Trent Hilliard. I'm Chois Woodman. Got a lot going on the Yates Flooring Center chat line, so we will try to read as much as possible. Trent, there's a lot of people that on a day like today that come out of the weeds. We texters we don't hear from for a while, which is great. We appreciate y'all being there. There's also some that like, what are you saying? That sort of stuff. Curse of the Pirate continues. That's one from the chat line. All right. You go with that. I think that ended when you went as far as you've ever gone last year. I don't think you had any curse holding you back last year. So
no.
So I'm gonna probably disagree with that one. This one, I fully understand gambling happening in college campuses, pal. You guys don't seem to understand that Sorsby is done at Tech. Is that you? The pal at you?
I believe so.
Okay.
But, it's all early. We're all trying to figure out what's going to happen.
Sure.
And yeah, it's not good, obviously, gambling in your own sport as a college athlete, gambling on sports, period, as a college athlete. But it's also a very different world that we're in today with when you're dealing with mental health issues and addictions and those type of things. So sure. I wouldn't say that he is done at Tech by any stretch, but yet certainly understand how serious this is and how much it will be looked into and could get even more and more serious.
Yes. He's not the first and won't be the last, and he isn't the only one doing it. Not a good argument with your mom, even though you're probably accurate on that.
If everybody else,
but point, I don't disagree with any of what you're saying. It will continue to happen.
Yeah.
Now, again, there are times where a example is to be made, and they choose, whatever it may be, chooses, hey, we're going to make an example out of this. That might be the case here with Brendan Sorsby, because he is by quite a bit, the most high-profile name that's been linked to gambling in the NCAA since this new wave of it being at your fingertips on your phone has been here. So it's a possibility. Or they may elect to say, hey, this was 4 years ago before we really started leaning into this in 2023. They may say, okay, you're outside of the window, don't do it again. If his last bet was the one in 2022 at Indiana, not sure that speaks to gambling addiction, so I question why the program now, if he made his last bet in 2022. Expect it's much deeper, but it'd be great if 2022 was the last and only bet he made in his college career. Well, it said thousands back in 2022, according to the Pete Thamel report.
And it could be a situation, he's getting treatment for gambling addiction. It may not be
true
betting through the app. It may just, playing poker and doing stuff. I mean, there could be some other things that he has moved on to with stuff on that gambling addiction part. It does seem like there has to be some more recent stuff for him to have a gambling addiction.
Yeah, we don't know. He may be heading over every other night to Hobbs and hitting up whatever the casino is over there.
So,
what's the name of that one?
Oh, gosh.
I passed, I can't remember. Someone will tell us. But, seriously, you're right. That may be part of it. Yeah. Maybe this was the last sports bet he placed in 2022, but it's channeled somewhere else and he does need it. We don't know.
Again, and I don't know exactly where the NCAA, where their line is on betting. If he's betting on pro events, is that okay? Is it just college? Is it just your sport? Is it just things that you personally know about that are the major no's on that type of stuff? Because I can't imagine, if he put down a bet on who was going to win the Masters, they're coming after him.
Right.
But that could be part of the continuing addiction. Again, all speculation. Who knows? Right now, we're getting the information as everybody else is getting it, and it comes out, and it seems to be definitely a national story.
This one says, this is stupid. You can do just about anything in the NCAA will let you play, but probably won't in this situation, and that would be Tech's luck. Yeah. NCAA hates Tech. They will make an example out of him and Tech, even though it didn't happen here. Most schools hate Tech, so this is like politics. If there's any dirt on a player, they will find it.
Yeah.
You're not wrong on that.
Yeah, they want to protect their standing in the college football world by a lot of people, and Tech is a threat to that.
Sooner in Lubbock says not a good look for Sorsby. Sorsby, check yes or no. Well, there's timing there. So does this mean he's out? I'm confused on how this would affect the season next year, but I'm not up on the rules around this. The one part that's noted in Pete Thamel's story, you can go find it at ESPN and read yourself. He does note that the rules in place for forfeiting your ability to play anymore were reworked in 2023. This happened in 2022 if nothing else is discovered. So maybe there is a window there. That's possible. We don't know, but that's a possibility. Here's an idea. Make him forfeit his games at Cincinnati, and now he's good to go. Okay.
There you go.
I like the way you're thinking.
Yeah, they'll strip Indiana of their national championship and give it to Miami now.
Interesting timing for this information to come to light. Sour grapes from Indiana or Cincinnati. I would be shocked that Indiana has any sort of sour grapes when they just won a national championship. Right. And nothing towards Texas Tech, I wouldn't think. Cincinnati would make a lot of sense if someone did. Again, this could be an individual. Like this, the fact that I said this to you off air, the fact that this happened 4 years ago and is just now coming to light with other probes revealing other stuff. Now, a lot of those were initiated by the FBI, but the Decker at Iowa State and others already being expelled from college football. The fact that this was 4 years ago and is just now coming out makes it appear, I guess it's 5 years ago now, makes it me think that there's some sort of cover there, meaning he used a friend's email address, whatever that is. He used something to cover tracks a little bit. But there's usually still some connection somewhere. So if he's using a buddy he's not buddies with anymore, he's using that email address to place all these bets, and he's like, hey, Brendan, hook me up with some of that big cash there.
Right.
Man, I'm good. Okay, here's this, Pete Thamel, ESPN. I don't know. That's one example. It could straight up be a staffer at Cincinnati when he transferred from Indiana, where he says, hey, I did this at Indiana. Just thought you should know. And they're like, okay, we're good. We got it under wraps. But then you leave Cincinnati, and that's not under wraps anymore. The way this got out, who knows? But it is odd timing that it's 4 years after the fact when so many other gambling probes have revealed other athletes. I expect the Sorsby news broke because Tech men's basketball to distract from the lack of signings. They did throw a JK in there, or two JKs. Yes, blame the other schools. I mean, it's possible. No, it all comes down to Sorsby and doing something he shouldn't have done. That's the hard thing is when we get in trouble, we never want the punishment.
Right.
We don't. And I don't want the punishment for Brendan Sorsby, but I also get it. If he doesn't play it down for Texas Tech, I get why.
Yeah.
I hope that isn't the case because I love Texas Tech and I want him to help the Red Raiders go win a national title this year.
The hard part is you feel like Texas Tech is the one being punished right now in this, and we did nothing wrong. And so you're going, hey, how's this happen?
But that's part of bringing in who you bring in, whether it's high school athletes, college athletes. You're recruiting guys, and part of what you're recruiting is character.
Absolutely.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It's a Monday afternoon on the Bottom Line, 100.7 The Score, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Chois Woodman, Trent Hilliard, yours from the First United Bank studio. Y'all continue to bring in thoughts, comments, questions. There's a whole lot of reaction on the chat line, as expected. We'll continue to read as much of yours as we possibly can over the next hour and a half. So y'all keep them coming. If you missed it, if you're just hopping in, I wasn't talking to you, Siri. If you missed it, Brendan Sorsby is away from Texas Tech football indefinitely. Is checked into gambling rehab, basically. That's the right word for it, right? Because they word it nicer in the article. But this is gambling rehab, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure I'm not interpreting this wrong. Checked into gambling rehab. He placed a few bets, actually 1,000 or more bets, according to Pete Thamel's article, in his redshirt freshman season at Indiana. There is no evidence as of now of other bets that have been placed, but that's where we sit. Texas Tech could be without their high-priced quarterback in 2026. So with that, let's get to our question of the day.
Time now for Jamie's question of the day on 100.7 The Score. Brought to you by someone not named Jamie and presented by Connecticut of West Texas. Life's hard, your water shouldn't be.
All right, Trent. This was not my original question, but things have pivoted a little bit today. What do you expect Texas Tech's record to be now? I could go with, if you had to bet on it, what would Texas Tech's record be right now in the 2026 season? Sorry, too soon? Probably a bit.
You know, I'm usually not the optimist, but I would go 10-2. 10-2 and still going. You know, the conference schedule's not perfect. Right. Your road games are going to be tough road games. So, you know, even before this, I wasn't on the 12-0 boat. That's just so hard to do.
It is.
But I would say, you know, I'd probably throw another loss in there and go with the 10-2, and 10-2 probably still puts you playing for the Big 12 championship.
Probably.
So
Ben,
I'm kind of in that same boat. The one of the losses that I feel like would be that would happen in this particular instance is the trip to Waco, since Baylor's had Texan number over the years. But I can even see Cincinnati being a loss as well. But yeah, I'm in that same camp, 10-2.
I hate to be boring. 10-2 is the number that was in my head too. So we're all right there. I would guess if we polled the public on this, Trent, that it would be most would probably be more in the 8 or 9 win range, but maybe not. Maybe there is a stronger expectation. I think 10-2 is not crazy, regardless of your quarterback. Now, if you don't have anybody back there that can help you out, you've got some options. But like you talked about, for the most part last year, Baron Morton, he was better than a bus driver, but that's all you needed him to be.
Right.
He wasn't a bus driver, but that's all you needed him to be because of your defense. If you have anything similar defensively this year, in most games you won't have to have a quarterback go win you football games. I think your defense is going to be stout. I think you're even better in the running back area, and you can really lean on running the football this year. You can do that a lot.
Yep.
This isn't a – to me, this doesn't take my hopes of another Big 12 title away. It diminishes my national championship hopes a little bit, or winning college football playoff games, going any deep on that. That knocks it down a bit, and this is without even knowing if you do get Brendan Sorsby back or not. But this isn't a blow where it's like, okay, like the one texter, back to 6-6. Nowhere close to that. Your roster is still stacked, loaded. I mean, I think right now you have 10 or 11 guys get drafted next year when you just start going through the list of players. So as detrimental as this is, you went and got Brendan Sorsby in hopes of trying to take the next step next year. Right. That was the idea, the hope. Well, without him, you're back about where you were last year and maybe a step back from that, which would be 10-2.
Yeah, because you're not going to have, obviously, the experience of what you had with Morton. You know, and, you know, he comes in with multiple starts already, played in multiple games, you know, big games and things like that. So if you've got to go beyond Sorsby, now you're going to guys who haven't had that at this level and don't have that. So it's a little bit more of the unknown. You know, and again, a healthy Morton was an outstanding, but we never really got to see him fully in the health, whether it be arm or legs or, you know, whatever. So so now we're dealing with some guys that are going to have to step up, but they're certainly athletic enough to do things. They're just going to have to get some experience in playing, and so early on, you've got a schedule that grants them the opportunity to get that experience and learn from some early mistakes and do some things. And you know, we're April, so those guys are going to get all those reps throughout the summer, and you know, we'll see what the fall looks like when that rolls around. But they're gonna the expectation now for them becomes a little bit more heightened of hey, I may be QB1, and so the effort and the focus and stuff becomes a little more different when you're in that situation. You can say all you want. You're back at, well, I've got to prepare. I'm just one play away. But it's different when now you're there and it's an open competition to see who possibly is going to be there, depending on what happens here.
There's a team that went through attrition similar to this last year. You remember who?
The Rebels, Ole Miss.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of BYU, but yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. BYU was
BYU. Remember, lost their quarterback. I want to say it was around this time last year.
Yeah,
feels that way.
I think it was in the spring. BYU loses their quarterback last year. After they went, 10-2 the year before that, or were they 9-3?
But you also got to remember they had the spring portal at that time because he ended up at Tulane a few months afterwards.
He did, yes. But when did Bear Bachmeier come in? He came in after the spring portal, right? Because Bear, I think, was at Stanford before that, and then came in after.
Committed,
so they were able to add a quarterback late.
But a freshman.
I don't think they expected him to be the starter when they were adding him. I don't think so. So BYU took a massive hit last year, and they still made it to a Big 12 championship. I think Texas Tech could do something similar, and I think your roster's better than BYU's was last year, the team that made it to the Big 12 championship. We'll see. If he's out the rest of the year, too bad Tech didn't go get Sam Levitt. That's from the chat line. So does this mean Arizona State now has a chance to win the Big 12? I think the rest of the Big 12 is looking at this like, holy cow, we got a shot now. That would be my guess. If this happened at another school and they were the clear favorite the way Texas Tech is, we'd be like kind of licking your chops. Houston, Arizona State, BYU, Utah should all feel a lot better about their chances to win the league as it sits right now.
Yep. And why does this happen to Tech over and over?
Joey has no clue how to recognize character. Last week it came out about Zarnell Fitch. How can Joey be clueless? He fired Zarnell Fitch after this stuff happened.
There's a lot of people in the Texas Tech locker room, coaches, GAs, players, student assistants, all that type of stuff that I'd say their percentage has been pretty good over there.
Tons of character in that locker room. People do make mistakes, though. Some make terrible mistakes.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score app. Alongside Trent Hilliard, I'm Chois Woodman, Ben Porman across the way, and it is time for Tell Me I'm Wrong.
All right, I believe that athletes are so locked in on winning, losing, that adversity only brings out the best.
Okay.
So tell me that I'm wrong, that this adversity in the football will only make them stronger and more focused for next year's season.
First of all, if that isn't sunshine and rainbows, then I don't know what is.
I think
they talk about the chip, having the chip on the shoulder, and this brings it back.
I think I'll agree with you on, I don't know if that translates into wins or not, as far as what you would have been compared to what you are. Like we all talked about it, we think if there's no Brendan Sorsby, then you're down a win or two. But as far as I know that this team talked about wanting to get back to that chemistry level of the previous group. I know John Curry talked about that a couple of weeks ago, and that's what they've really focused on this spring. I do think moments like this can bring you together. If you've got good leadership, and I believe they've got good leadership, coaching-wise and player-wise. So, but your main leader, The quarterback is gone. So you've got to rally without that, at least for the time being. I think this group will be extra motivated to show that, especially if there is no Sorsby this season, to show that they can still do it without him. But motivation is only a piece of the puzzle. Playing with that chip is a piece of it. It's a big one. So I think let's say I 75% agree with you. Not all the way in, but I'm picking up what you're putting down.
All right.
Ben?
Choice said 75%. I'm going to go about 85 to 90% of the way into it. Because, again, motivation is just a little piece of the puzzle, just the tip of the iceberg as far as what you're asking for these guys minus a position. And I can see that factor partaking in these guys. And so, yeah, you're right. 85%.
Yeah, I see it as, because right now, like I said, the odds, 11.5 is what the set for the wins for next year. That's going to drop. That's going to drop a lot. And that's 21 other starters, not counting kickers and punter there and special teams guys, that should feel slighted. That one guy makes a difference in 2 wins and you being a favorite or in Big 12 or not or whatever. I think those athletes, because you look for something to use when you're a favorite, some slight, something like that. I think that they've found there's something to use now with this, and what the national media and folks are going to slight the rest of them and drop them off of that perceived undefeated season or potential undefeated whatever. So yeah, we'll see.
So Justin tweeted us and said, "Hey, just blame it on your interpreter." Remember the whole Shohei Ohtani story? Yeah, this guy's got access to all the accounts and using me, and I don't know if it's going to work in this situation for Brendan Sorsby, but that is an example of a high-profile person. Couldn't get any more high-profile than Shohei Ohtani worldwide, and got away with it. Yeah, and I say got away with it. That's if the interpreter stuff's not true. We don't know. Never will. Probably.
Yeah, MLB protected him, I think, on that one.
There's some protection there.
Yeah.
So there is still a chance that happens here. College football may hate Texas Tech, but Texas Tech right now is good for college football. It is. Will it survive without the Red Raiders being good this year? Sure it will. Sure it will. The Tech moved the needle last year. It will move the needle again this season. I'm not implying that anything will happen, or I'm just saying there's an example. Kansas has been an example millions of times of doing wrong stuff and getting protection for it.
Well, it's the old joke, that use North Carolina as an example. They're so mad at North Carolina that North Carolina A&T is going to be put on probation.
Remember
they're going to protect
Carolina
the big ones.
Literally made up fake classes. They made up fake classes for their basketball and football players. And then they're like, well, the NCAA is like, well, we can't punish them because they're letting other students go to these classes too.
Yeah.
Forget the whole higher education thing. They're fake,
eligibility or any of that stuff.
This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. I guess 100.7 The Score is the Howard Stern of sports talk shows. Reading these comments, half the people only listen because they hate Tech. There is some truth to that. I wouldn't say half, but there's people that are reveling in this for sure. Wow, Texas Tech baseball is now the program's being canceled because of RPI issues. Lance says, so who will be our quarterback on opening day? Is it completely out of question to go out and find somebody else at this time, even though the portal was closed? This is bad of me. Remind me of our former Wake Forest quarterback from last season.
Mitch Griffiths.
Thank you. Well, he was pouring concrete.
That's true.
So if you got another guy out there pouring concrete, that's pretty well the only route to pick someone up. If there's another player that is not currently out there, out of their eligibility, that's not in college football right now, that would probably be your route to pick up. But then again, I still think he probably had to go in some sort of a transfer portal.
And here's a tweet from On3.
Okay.
From the last hour. It just said Texas Tech backup quarterback Will Hammond has returned to throwing in the last 10 days.
Okay.
There's optimism that he should be healthy by week 1 against Abilene Christian. So maybe there's your week 1 starter.
I think I'm guessing there's going to be a push that there wasn't before.
Yeah.
I mean, the thought process would have been like, well, we'll very much take it slow and ease Hammond in. Now, I'm not saying you force an issue, but if you can get him ready, if he can get ready, then that's probably your best option. Week 1. Who do we play this year?
ACU.
Is it ACU or Tarleton? I can't remember. It's all these purple schools. Who did we play last year?
That's true. That's true.
I think you're right.
Start blending in.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Who did we play last? Because I remember we had ACU and it was a scare 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, because we had
2 years
last
ago.
year was Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Pine Bluff.
And then Kent State and
Oregon State.
And then Oregon State.
This year it's ACU at Oregon State, then U of H, then Sam Houston.
Okay, there we go. I think we have Tarleton next year. I've been looking at next year's schedule so much that I think that one meshed into the brain because of
the NC State.
We're trying to figure out what the early season next year looks like.
Exactly. The only problem with Hammond is he's so reliant on his legs, wheels.
Yes.
And when you're coming back from a knee thing, that makes it even a little more difficult when that's such a big part of your game.
Yep.
So
Bobby Hot Dog says, I just Googled Hunter Deckers to refresh myself on the situation. I don't even think he's making this up. He currently plays in the UFL for the Houston Gamblers. I think he's being serious. If Deckers plays for the Gamblers,
that's oh gosh,
that's
the irony of all ironies, huh?
Someone is reminding there is one more loophole I forgot about. You can get a grad transfer in May after they graduate at their current school. That is still a thing.
Okay.
Grad transfer is still a
Don't
thing
have to be
outside of
portals.
the portal.
Okay.
I've forgotten about that because there was someone that did that last year. So, grad transfer, you can still do that.
Okay. Wasn't aware of that without that second portal deal. So
yeah, because grad transfer circumvents all the the
that goes
stuff.
Back to the original and Russell Wilson and all that.
All of those, where basically the portal started with grad transfer stuff.
Right. This has been the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 100-7thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.